This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Today I'd like to present to you the most recent editorial which I just wrote for our weekly updates. In this case it's update 778, titled Germany and the USA, What Next? It was not a great meeting by any stretch of the imagination. The Local wrote on March 18, stark differences between President Donald Trump and German Chancellor Angela Merkel on everything from trade to immigration were in full view during an icy first meeting at the White House Friday. In a frequently awkward joint press conference, Trump and Merkel showed little common ground. The New York Times added on March 17, worlds apart in style and policy, Mr. Trump and Mrs. Merkel could not disguise the gulf that separates them. The Daily Mail supplied the following interesting comments on March 17. The two could hardly be more contradictory. President Trump defended his Chile summit with Merkel on Twitter Saturday, insisting it was a great meeting, and immediately blasting Germany for owing what he said were vast sums of money to NATO. He claimed that all reports criticizing their meeting were fake news. The idea that Germany owes money to NATO or the United States was strongly rejected by American and German newspapers alike. The Washington Post wrote on March 18 that former US Ambassador to NATO Ivo Dalder wrote that the alliance gave all member states until 2024 to reach that goal of 2%, and Germany is on track. Trump's comments misrepresent the way NATO functions, Dalder told us. That's not how it works. German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen simply stated that there is no debt account at NATO, adding, however, that it was necessary to have a modern security concept that included a European Defense Union. On the other hand, German journalists received much praise from their somewhat intimidated American colleagues for asking pointed questions during the joint press conference. As Deutsche Welle reported on March 17, Politico reporter Tara Palmermi admitted, the German press shamed us. Trump was also asked point blank by one reporter of the German newspaper Die Welt why he keeps making statements he knows are not true. It was a question that shocked US reporters. The straightforward line of questioning visibly put off Trump. Rarely has Trump appeared so uncomfortable. President Trump is not one who can easily forgive and forget, as he has admitted himself in interviews. His impulsiveness is well known and reflected by his emotional nightly tweets. To believe that the relationship between Mr. Trump and Mrs. Merkel will substantially improve would be naive. And if Mrs. Merkel will be replaced in September by her challenger Martin Schulz, then the relationship between Germany and the United States might deteriorate even further, as Mr. Schulz is known of being very outspoken, not as reserved and at times stone-faced as Angela Merkel, and he is an open critic of Donald Trump. Deutsche Welle wrote on March 19 about Mr. Schulz. The former president of the European Parliament vigorously defended his party's support for the European Union. Schulz also took potshots at US President Donald Trump, saying that an election like that in the United States, featuring fake news and the denigration of whole groups of the population, had no place in Germany. The German Chancellor can take a clear negative position towards the United States, Schulz added. Both Mrs. Merkel and Mr. Schulz are strong supporters of the EU, which Mr. Trump opposes. On almost every issue of international consequence, Germany and the United States are in disagreement. Mr. Trump is extremely disliked by the vast majority of the German people, despite the fact that Mr. Trump is of German heritage. Focus wrote on March 17, "This president is anything else but a natural friend of the Germans. His government will not consider the obligations and needs of their allies." Even in the United States, President Trump's popularity declines. But Donald Trump will be the president for at least 4 more years, enjoying the approval of unwavering core supporters, and he can rule with an iron fist within his realm of authority, no matter how the majority of American citizens might feel. And in times of hostility and danger, patriotic Americans will support their president in his fight against foreign enemies, regardless of what they might think about him. Now, let me just interject now, in interrupting my editorial, I will continue in a moment, that something else has happened now, according to Newsmax, dated March 20. FBI Director James Comey confirmed for the first time the Bureau is probing potential ties and possible collusions between President Donald Trump's associates and Russia during the 2016 campaign to influence the outcome of the presidential election, and said there is no evidence to support the president's allegation that his predecessor wiretapped Trump Tower last year. And Comey pointed also out that the inquiry, which he said began last July, will determine whether any crimes were committed. Now, it's interesting what the reaction has been of the German press. I just want to point you to Bild Online, saying this on March 20. March 20, 2017 could become an historic day when the US president completely lost all credibility. What are the consequences? Not clear. Until recently, no American president would have survived. But according to American standards, which were applied until several months ago, Trump should have never become president in the first place. And then today they are talking about Trumpgate. They are talking about impeachment. They are talking about the necessity for Mr. Trump to resign. Well, let me just tell you that's not going to happen. As I pointed out in the editorial, he's going to stay in power because there is a reason for that. Let me continue with the editorial. I wrote, the relationship between Germany and the United States has always been a difficult one. As we explain on page 17 of our free booklet, The Great Tribulation and the Day of the Lord, and you should get a copy of this if you don't have it already. German Kaiser Wilhelm II had a plan to attack the United States about 100 years ago. His ultimate goal was to establish and possess colonies in South America and in the Pacific, and to gain control over the Panama Canal. The plan, though 10 years in the making, was not carried out. Instead, Kaiser Wilhelm II led Germany into World War I in 1914. In addition to Adolf Hitler's attack on Great Britain, he also declared war on the United States on December 11, 1941. This was just 2 days after President Roosevelt announced that Germany was as guilty for attacking Pearl Harbor as was Japan. Hitler then ordered the destruction of all American ships wherever they could be found. Hitler lost the war as he fought too many battles at the same time. We reveal in our free literature, not just this booklet I was talking about, there are other booklets as well, that Germany is the modern descendant of ancient Assyria, while the United States is a modern descendant of one of the 2 most prominent tribes of the ancient house of Israel. As Assyria defeated and enslaved the house of Israel in ancient times, so it is prophesied that another war between these powers will occur in the last days with devastating results. The difference will be that this time Assyria, modern Germany, will not act alone, but it will lead a power bloc of 10 European nations or groups of nations, the final revival of the ancient Roman Empire, and the ensuing war will be fought with nuclear weapons, destroying all major cities within the United States, and exterminating millions upon millions of Americans. But after God has performed his punishment of the modern house of Israel, calling it an ungodly nation, as Isaiah 10 and verse 6 tells you, he will then direct his wrath against Germany and the entire European power bloc, leading to their destruction, because they are not in any way more righteous than the American nation. All of this will happen soon, I say in this editorial, no matter what people may want to believe or reject. God calls this coming time the Great Tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. Matthew 24, verse 21. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Are you, I'm asking, getting ready for this time? Sudden destruction will come upon the world. 1 Thessalonians 5. Verses 2 to 3. But you could escape all these things that will come to pass. Luke 21, verse 36. Our free literature tells you how. Please do yourself a favor and ask for a free copy of the Great Tribulation and the Day of the Lord. Thank you very much for watching. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.